guys, it's Miss Erico here, and I am going to be doing a very quick tutorial video on how to navigate Classroom, find assignments and materials, and what's the difference between the two. And then additionally, I am going to show you how to navigate on the Google Meets platform. This is, of course, uploaded to your Google Classroom via a link that is on our YouTube channel. So to get started, let's go ahead and go into Classroom. And I have a lot more classes than what would probably pop up on your screen, but that is perfectly fine. What you should be concerned with is finding the class that you are going to be joining the meeting for. So I'm going to be using an old class that is stored away where by the time you see this video, you're not going to be able to access the class code or anything like that. But that way we can see what a class would look like, what's the difference between the assignments, and all that good stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and click into Medical Detectives, which is one of my Project Lead the Way courses. And when you click on that class that's on your class menu, you have the option of either clicking on that, or you can navigate through classes by using this drop down menu, and you can click on the different classes that you want to navigate. So when you go into Google Classroom, it should look relatively the same as mine. You have Stream, Classwork, and People, and you should also have a grade book to keep track of your assignments and what your grades are for each class. Now, it's not going to combine your grades together into a report. I don't believe so, like live grades, but this is a good way to keep track of, are you turning in your assignments? Have you missed any? And seeing how the teacher has graded your work without going into the live grades platform. So when you go into Google Classroom, you have your class title here, whatever picture the teacher decides to choose. You have your class code here. Now, if we're in a Google Meet and let's say one of our classmates has forgotten to get the class code, but you have a way to um, get in contact with them, you can give them this class code that's for your class. So yours would be whatever the science class is or your PLTW class. Like this is an old class that you're not going to be able to access by the time you see this video. But if you need to see it bigger, you can click on this square here and it will blow it up bigger so that you can join the class. Now, please do not invite anybody that's not supposed to be in the class. Um, they don't need to be in there. We just post stuff that relates directly to class. We don't put anything else on there. And it really just doesn't involve anybody else that's not enrolled in your course. This Meet link is visible at all times, and that is where we will have our meetings Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays, with the exception of this week, which will be Wednesday and Thursday, so that we can start to get into the way we're going to do things for virtual. So to access your meeting link, you'd want to click on this link. It'll open a new tab, and then you can sign in that way. And I'll show you how to do that once we go through Classroom. On the side on the left, you should have your upcoming, and this will show you what work is going to be due soon. If there's nothing here, that means there's nothing due. But if there is something here, it'll say the assignment and the due date. If you scroll down, this is known as the stream or the class feed. It's similar to Facebook or any other social media platform. The posts are in chronological order based on when they get posted. Um, you can post questions in here if I haven't muted you. And I can comment on there and just go from there. However, if you do spam the stream with comments and things, I may need to mute you just so I don't miss any important comments or questions that someone else may have, or so that things I post in the stream can be visible to everybody. Otherwise, it just pushes it down further on the stream. Easiest way to view your classwork is going down through the stream would be to click on the classwork at the top. You have some different tabs you can go across and click. You can also access the Google Meet through here, the calendar for um, the class, and access to your Google Drive as well. All the topics that get listed as we go throughout the class will be listed here in reverse chronological order. I like to start with the first lesson, and then as we go through, build and just have what we're working on at the top so you're not having to scroll all the way down through. Anything that's an important document is going to be at the top. So for this class, they use the disease dictionary throughout the whole term and also the syllabus. If you look at these symbols mean something that is important to you. If it's a book with a little bookmark like this, it is a material and cannot be submitted. It doesn't have any work on it that needs completed, but you use it to go through the class, to reference, take notes, and then to also um, read and complete questions that may be on another assignment. An assignment is a clipboard here. You can also tell an assignment from a material based on what it says over here. So if you notice the materials that get posted, it says posted and the date that I post them. In uh, contrast, an assignment will have the due date posted here instead. You can also click on a material and you'll see it just has this and also says view material, while an assignment will have view assignment and can be posted here. Now you will not see these numbers here. Those are what a teacher sees. We can see 7 people out of the 18 turned it in. That's because we were virtual. We used this virtually, but also we were in school during this time. So not everyone turned it in online. Some just hit turn in just so that it would disappear from their to-do list. As you can see, everything is labeled according to what the lesson or the chapter it's in. If we are virtual for a longer period of time for a classroom, I will organize this by term. After we get done with the term, I'll move it all down to a term section, like term 1, 2, and 3, and 4. That way we don't have to worry about too many things. But it is in reverse chronological order, so the thing that we're working on at the time will be closest to the top. At the end of every class meeting, as long as it lets me save the recording, I have had a few instances where it's just glitched and the recording has become corrupted and I was not able to upload most the class recordings on here. Meet, you can click on that, and it'll take you to the uh, Casson Science YouTube channel. And the class that it is linked will be able to this, with the exception of videos like this video where there's no students or class discussion going on. It's a general video that no student information would be given out for privacy reasons. So if we wanted to view this Google Meet, for example, I would click on the link here and it would pull it up here on the Google Classroom page, or you have the option to watch it on YouTube itself as well. If you view the material, it may also show you the link from there, but a lot of the times it'll keep you in Google Classroom at all time. For this. So as you can see here, this shows the screen that I'm sharing, just like what you're seeing on the video now. And then it will have the notes page. I always take notes whenever we're having a meeting, and I'll show you how to click back and forth between a shared screen and the notes page if you need to for reference. If you're trying to submit an assignment, let's go ahead and show you what an assignment would look like. You would go here and you would go to view assignment. And you should have the instructions page. You shouldn't have anything that has anything to do with any submissions for the class. Um, but you have your instructions, and then you have your activity and the due date. I will show you for a science page like how it would work. For this, it's a PDF file because I'm not able to actually have a Google Doc for that. But a lot of times, especially in our science classes, I will upload separately a Google Doc that you can edit yourself and turn in with the assignment. That way, you don't have to worry about sharing things, making sure that I can see it, because as long as you work on the thing that's been placed on the assignment, you'll be able to turn that in. So, for example, if we go to your fifth grade science class, uh, my one for this year, you can see in their classwork that we have some different things. So these are all materials, and every science class should have pretty much the same thing. How you'll have an introductory reading, the chapter presentation, your section one, and then as we progress, section one, two, three, four, however many sections are in the chapter, and then your reading questions. So if we look at this assignment here, it'll tell you what to do. You can see this is a Google Doc. Uh, you click on that Google Doc, and you can type in on your screen, and it's not going to edit it for anybody else. It's going to be all the same for you, and it's not going to give anybody answers or anything like that. And you can directly type on this Google Doc. Now, if you're turning in paper copies, you would just write on the paper. You don't need to submit through Google Classroom. Right, so as we progress through um, the classwork, if you have any questions, you can comment either directly on the assignment itself and for you, or you can comment on the work itself under material or something like that. But you guys can reach me through Google Classroom, Live Grades, and your parents can also contact me through the Remind app. As I go through your syllabus, when I return back to school on Wednesday, I'll add those that needed to be added to Remind um, manually, and then everyone should be on the same page for that. Let's go ahead and jump in to a meet and what you're going to class. So all my classes are going to be again Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and it's at your scheduled class time for the day. I believe every teacher in the middle school will be having their classes during the regularly scheduled time that you would be when you're in school. So you go to your class page and you find the meeting link. You cannot join the meeting until I'm actually in the meeting itself. My camera on this computer does not work, but for yours it should work, and you can pick some different things for that camera itself. So here we have our mic, and then we also have our turn off camera option. You need to make sure that your mic is turned off before you enter the meeting so that we don't cause anyone to get um, a lot of noise in their ears, especially some people who want to do who wear headphones for the meeting. If you before you go into the meeting, if you have a few minutes before class, you can change the background for your camera. Here's the change background option, and in here you can pick some different backgrounds as you progress through. Like here's clouds. I could pick this one. Maybe you want to go to a beach, you could pick a beach, and it's just whatever you decide here for this for your background. If your internet is a little laggy and not wanting to keep the stream or meeting going smoothly, I would advise to turn your camera off so that you don't have to worry about extra usage on your internet, especially if you have a brother or sister using the internet too for their Google Meets as well. Once you get that all figured out, as long as it's time for your class and then I'm in there, you'd want to hit the join now option, and then you'll be entering the meeting. Now, I am in a meeting right now to record this video, so I cannot actually join this meeting. So we're going to pretend that I hit join, and it will pull up the Google Meet, and it'll look like this. Everyone that's in the meeting will have a little square. For this one, I'm the only one in the meeting. When you join the meeting, you're going to see a lot of Miss Carico. Right, because I join with my phone and my computer to every meeting so that I can keep track of what's going on your screen, and I'm able to see the meeting chat in case you have a question or anything while I'm presenting. Because otherwise, whatever you see on the shared option screen here is what I see on my screen, and I'm not going to see your questions or anything. Once you're in the meeting, you're going to want to find me, the screen, and the notes page. So you'd want to find wherever I am, and you'll hover over that, and you'll click the thumbnail, and that will blow it up bigger so that you can see the screen better. So if I were to be like, oh, okay, here is the sharing screen, I'm going to click the thumbnail, and it's going to blow up bigger. Now, the one that's talking will most likely have the notes pages on it. So if you need to go back and forth when we're in the meeting, you can just click the thumbnail, look at the notes, and then go back and forth. It's very simple, just to click back and forth on it. On your screen, that's where everyone is. Now, if you can't find me, especially once we have a whole class in here, you can go to the people option, and you can scroll down through and find everyone in here. You can see who's talking, which should be me. You can see who's presenting, which is the one that would have the presentations on it, and then just the one that's going to be silent. It's just there for me to be able to share my screen. Well, you have all kinds of ways to access the thumbnail for that. Your chat is going to be located down here. A lot of you did really good when we had that virtual meeting the first day I was out. But you can comment here, you can ask questions, answer questions that I asked throughout the presentations. But if we have a problem with spamming the chat, I will have to mute the chat, and you have to use your mics to answer questions. Uh, the reason why that I maintain the chat is that we need to have the same thought process as we would in a classroom. Just because you're at home, you still have the same rules and procedures that you would as if you're in the classroom. So if you're spamming the chat, it's kind of like you talking out loud in class. Um, I hear the chat going off on my phone, and it pops up on people's screens. It may block something that's important. So we need to make sure that we're aware of that. I also want to let you know that Google Meets records anything that happens um, through the meeting recording, of course, but also the chat transcript. So just because I'm not on that screen and not able to see that does not mean that I'm not going to be able to see anything that you write about and do in that chat. So make sure that we just maintain positive behavior and commenting with good vibes. Right. So I don't do anything in the Google Meet that you wouldn't do in a classroom. So you're just going to act just like you would in a classroom in the Google Meets. If you're having trouble hearing me, you can click here, this closed captions. If you click this, it will pop up on the bottom of your screen for whoever's talking. It'll tell you like Miss Carrica's talking, or um, John's talking, or whoever's talking will say who it is. And you'll be able to keep tabs on what's being said, even if your internet keeps making the video lag in and out. Now, some of the words may not be as accurate, but it does very good. Like you can see, my name's not correct, but it is what it is, especially if we get more sciencey words in here. Sometimes it messes up on those. I will go ahead and turn off the captions so that it makes my screen a little bigger for the recording. There's a hand raising option. Whenever I'm presenting and we're in class, I'm not going to be able to see this raising hand option. So once you get the um, ability to ask a question or anything, or if you need me to pause or we're in the middle of presentation, you have a question, you'd want to turn on your microphone and just go, Miss Carrico, I have a question. Or Miss Carrico, can we slow down? Can you go back a slide? Whatever you need. And then just make sure you also turn your microphone off after you ask or say something that relates to class. So this is pretty much all of Google Classroom, Meets, and everything that should get you started pretty well on your first day of Google Meets. So if you have any questions, be sure to reach out to your teachers. We're here to help, and we would prefer you to ask for help instead of just going blindly. Um, I want to also let you know that when we post assignments, make sure that you're doing the assignments by the due date, but be careful by doing them early. If you do assignments early, sometimes you may do them incorrectly or you may miss something that needs to be added. Um, at least for me, I will send back work to you if it's not done correctly, or maybe you forgot to attach something. I will send it back to you up to 3 times, but after the third time, I'll grade whatever you send to me. Just look at the submissions that teachers send back to you. We leave comments in your assignments and things like, for example, let's say you submit an assignment and you forgot to answer a question. I will send it back to you and I go, hey, you missed question 3. And I'll say, can you answer that and just resubmit it? And then if you look at the comments, it'll show you what the teacher needed. You can also ask, like, hey, why did you resubmit this without a grade? It doesn't have a grade. And we'll explain it to you pretty well. So don't forget, we'll get through this virtual school just fine. If you have any questions or anything, don't be afraid to reach out.